Happy Monday everyone, and welcome to this week's Monday's Moments video. I'm Simon from Sterling Coaching, and this week I wanted to share some lessons around the phrase "what's the attraction?" Now, I've been recently doing a Facebook ad campaign to get more business coaches and consultants into my group coaching program, and I'm looking to generate 100 plus leads to do that, and the Facebook ad campaign has worked pretty well. One of the other coaches in my group has done a very similar campaign and not had quite the same results, so I decided to actually go out there and actually do a campaign on his behalf, and the results were better, no doubt about it. And it made me wonder, what's the difference? Then this weekend I was sat in the garden and I was surrounded by a flock of swallows, which we'll see more of in a moment, and suddenly I realised three things, and that's what I want to share with you in today's Monday's Moments. See you in a second. Now, you can see here in the pretty badly videoed image here from my phone at the weekend, the shot of the neighbour's roof. And as we sat there, we've got about two families of swallows in our stables. And suddenly we were sat there in the garden and there were swallows everywhere. Now, you can't see on this video the number of them, but we counted over 150 individual swallows on the roof of our neighbours and on some wires between the telegraph poles as well. And as I watched these, I started to think, what on earth is attracting these swallows to this area at the moment? You know, they were in the skies, they were everywhere, and it made me wonder what it was that was attracting them, in particular to Steve's roof that you can see there. And as I started to think about this, it reminded me of the Facebook campaign that I'd been talking about just a few moments ago. And the issue I realised by watching these swallows is that I actually don't know what's attracted them. You know, they're just there. So something had attracted them, something was working, and as I'm recording this, they're flying around our house now, they're surrounding the windows here. And I thought, something is bringing them together, something is bringing them to this point, so something is attracting them. And sometimes we never do get to the bottom of what that attraction is, because very often it can be multiple things. It can be the circumstances of what they need at that moment, it could be what they've been waiting for, it could be that they've arranged to meet there, I don't know. But these swallows clearly were attracted to something. They were all gathering here for a reason. And I think sometimes when we go out there and we put some ads out there, as we have been doing over the last few weeks, and you get a good response, and then you put the same ad out there and you don't get a good response, I think it is about the timing. And we never will completely understand the behaviour of people, just the same as I don't understand the behaviour of the swallows there. So it's really important that we realise that we don't necessarily always understand. What we have got to do is we've got to keep testing and measuring and make sure we're doing as much as we can to get the timing right to attract our audience, our customers, our prospects to us. Then as I sat there watching them even more, I realised that this was similar to a community. These swallows were getting together. They're probably all individuals, okay, and family units scattered amongst the area. But for this moment, and for the moment that's outside, and it lasted probably a couple of hours, they're all coming together to form a community. And the reason I mention that is because when they come together as a community, they behave as a community. They do things. When one lifts off and goes somewhere, the others follow. When one comes back and settles, the others come back and settle. So they come together as a community and they act as a community. They look after each other. They have each other's backs. So when we're looking at attracting leads, prospects, customers, we have to think how they behave as a community. Are there community units that we can attract, like institutes, associations, etc.? So can we bring them together as a community? And the third thing I want to share with you in today's Monday's Moments, and I realised this right at the end, is that our nest of swallows, we've got a second batch of chicks that you can see on screen there. We've got a second batch of chicks, and they're only just coming out of the nest. And they are a little bit late. So it's almost as though all these other swallows were coming and saying, look, we want to migrate. We want to go back to where we go to for the winter. And you're not ready. Why aren't the chicks out the nest? So it's almost as they're trying to egg them on. Come on, let's get going. We've got together. We're going to go home. We're going to go to where we need to be for the winter. Why aren't you ready? And they hung around and they've come back today because the chicks, although they're out the nest, aren't quite ready to fly yet. So what we have to remember is that very often when we look at our prospects and our leads, they move to something together and they also move away from something together. They're not going to go, and I just imagine their patience is going to wear thin at some point, but they're going to give this family in my stables that still have these very young chicks, they're going to give them the absolute best opportunity that they've got of going along with a flock, because they're not going to do it on their own. They've got to travel as a flock. So when we're looking at attracting people, we need to understand that as well, that people generally will come to things together and they'll move away from something together, and they'll hang around whilst they wait for things to happen. So I want you to think about 3 things. Don't worry too much about worrying about what attracts them. Okay? Don't worry about that. You're right to worry, and you're right to consider what attracts them. But if you can't quite work it out, just keep trying it until it does work. And then when it does work, try to examine it, try to research it. Think about the community. Think about what brings these people, these prospects together, just like the flock. What brings them together as a community? And how do they move? How do they behave? What do they do together? And what do they stay away from together? And if you just think about these 3 things when you're doing any kind of advertising, any kind of lead generation, hopefully it can make a little bit of a difference, a little bit of an improvement to your results that you're going to get. Now, of course, this has been a great, hopefully, lesson and tip for you to take away. If you'd like to share similar lessons with me, then please schedule a podcast. The link to that's coming across the bottom of the screen there. Also, I'd love to share more tips with you. I have a couple of Facebook groups which are for members only, in which I share even more tips each and every week. If you're a coach, I have one group for you. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, I've got another group for you. If you would like the details of those groups, they're Facebook groups. So I know some of you don't like Facebook, but if you would like details of those Facebook groups so that you can get more tips, more peer-to-peer sharing of lessons that you can take value from, then drop me a message below wherever this video is playing at the moment, and I will get you the links to the Facebook groups so that you can apply to join them. I hope today's Monday's Moment has been some interest, and don't forget, nature gives us some great examples of what we can do in our business. And just as the swallows there gave me some realizations, take some time and look at nature and work out what is around you, what's happening around you, and what lessons can you learn from it, as well, of course, listening and learning from my Monday's Moment. I look forward to having you on next week's Monday's Moment. Bye for now.